for the flight computer to level the plane.
Yep, yes, voila, it's all good.
Bank angle test, 7. The tests are out of order. They're improvising now.
They recognized at that moment they were not going to finish the entire test plan. So what can we do to maximize the time we have left?
We need to overspeed.
They followed the flight program, taking into account opportunities that were presented to them.
You just want to hear the overspeed warning?
Many of the tests activate the plane's safety systems and set off alarms in the cockpit.
There it is. You can cancel the warning if you like. Overspeed, 8.
The crew manages to complete 12 tests in just half an hour.
So it's a busy crew.
An acceptance flight is very enjoyable from a pilot standpoint, but it is a very challenging environment because you're doing a lot of things with the airplane.
As the plane descends below the clouds, the crew sees an opportunity to do another test.
So, you want what?
Yeah, we need to go slow with recovery.
This test requires that the airplane be slowed well below normal speed to let the automated protections activate and then record what they do.
When the Airbus slows down too much, the flight control computer should automatically boost speed to prevent the plane from losing lift.
Down below the clouds.
You would not want to do slow flight conditions at very low altitudes. Those would be items that you'd want to do at 10,000 feet, because if something does go wrong, you want to have room to maneuver and sort it out.
Get your power at idle. Adjust pitch. Flaps full.
The captain reduces speed and waits for the automatic protections to kick in. But this time, nothing happens. Suddenly, this test is going horribly wrong.
It's pitching up all the time. Why didn't the stall protection kick in?
Why isn't the airplane responding? What do we need to do? Is there something else wrong? It's a diagnostic process that you don't have a lot of time with. So the big question that keeps coming back up is, why isn't the airplane responding as it has always done for me before?
Airbus's automated protection system has proved invaluable on other flights. In 2009, just after takeoff from New York, a flock of geese disables both engines on a US Airways A320. As pilot Sully Sullenberger prepares to ditch the plane in the Hudson River, the computer automatically adjusts the plane's angle into the wind, the angle of attack. It keeps him from stalling, saving the lives of everyone on board. Investigators wonder if the crash of Flight 888 has revealed a hidden flaw in one of aviation's most famous electronic safety nets. A flaw that is putting thousands of passengers at risk every day.
We had to understand the conditions which could have led to this situation.
As the investigation into the crash of Flight 888 continues, the BEA learns of another aviation tragedy. An Air France Airbus A330 has crashed off the coast of Brazil, killing all 228 people on board. Sebastian David is losing some of his best investigators as they are reassigned to deal with the Air France crash.
The team we had at the beginning of the investigation had to split into both investigations, so that makes it more difficult to conduct the investigation.
Monsieur David, I have the angle of attack sensor data.
Impeccable.
Investigators hope the flight data recorder from XL Airways Flight 888 will finally explain what went wrong in the skies over Perpignan, France. Information from a key set of sensors stands out.
That's odd.
Partway through the flight, 2 critical sensors failed at exactly the same time.
We know they were descending here, but the sensors still show a climb.
Angle of attack sensors act like small weather vanes on the outside of the plane. During flight, they pivot. Their movement helps the flight computer monitor the position of the plane, so it can automatically adjust the flight systems to maintain lift.
It is something that airplanes calculate continuously, and it is most critical as far as advising the pilots of an impending stall.
If the sensors got stuck in one position when they malfunctioned, it would explain why the computer didn't detect the dangerous angle of the plane.
We need to get a look at those sensors.
But the sensors are still missing at the bottom of the sea.
The entire gendarmerie was mobilized for the search. We made it understood that it was absolutely critical for our investigation.
The wreckage is so deep that divers must work in shifts to avoid decompression sickness or the bends.
Diving at 40 meters starts to become what we call a deep dive, and so a diver can only be exposed for a short time because we're dealing with compressed air.
Investigators catch a lucky break. After 2 days of searching, divers managed to recover both sensors.
One was still attached to a part of the fuselage. A second was sitting by itself on the bottom.
Investigators test the mechanism that allows the sensors to move.
Anything?
It's working perfectly.
It was very difficult to imagine a common technical problem that led to the blockage of 2 angle of attack sensors at the same time, at the same value.
There seems to be no way to explain why the sensors failed.
Or something jammed them? I want to see the FDR data again.
David returns to the flight data and searches for anything that might explain why both sensors failed at exactly the same time.
I have never heard of angle of attack simultaneous failures.
David graphs altitudes and corresponding air temperatures throughout the flight.
-50 at 32,000 feet.
At high altitudes, the air outside the plane is extremely cold. This gives him an idea.
Can the sensors freeze?
If there was ice in the sensor mechanism, it might have frozen them in place. The theory would explain why they both jammed at the same time,
It's pitching up all the time.
sending the plane's computer faulty data about the angle of attack for the rest of the flight.
It's pitching up.
With the 2 angle of attack vanes frozen, the flight control computers were not going to get the input that said, you are reaching critical angle of attack.
Investigators wonder if rainwater from a severe storm flooded the sensors and then froze.
We investigate meteorological conditions during cruise in order to find if those conditions could have led to the jamming of the angle of attack sensors.
It's a dead end.
The weather was nice that day.
The plane didn't encounter any bad weather. If water got inside the sensors, it happened on the ground, not in the air. But the advanced sensor is designed to keep rainwater out.
So, water would have to get all the way in here.
To get inside and freeze, the water would first have to travel through a long, winding channel. It seems like water had nothing to do with the failure. The edge of one of the sensors provides another intriguing lead. It's coated with several layers of paint.
This should all be sanded off.